closed gas log, but there's control buttons on the right hand side down low, and that doesn't do anything, and then the remote control's dead. I suspect the batteries are dead in the remote control, and so I did look at that a little bit, and I couldn't get it to do anything. So I would say, you know, make sure that he looked at that and has that addressed. And then the attic, I didn't see any problems there. And the interior, same is true. And then windows, seems like there's a whole bunch of different kinds of windows on this house. Like, and that's probably just because people have done things over the time span and different things were done at different times, and so you end up with a lot of different windows. But so far I haven't seen anything that's a problem. But that's an area we're not completely done. Then we have the exterior, and it looks good overall. There's always some things we can pick on or do on the exterior, but I'm certainly going to make an allowance for the age of the house, and I don't expect it to be perfect. But actually, I mean, this one looks very good overall. So, and then there's a door. It'd be on the first floor, and it's the door that goes out to the back from what I guess you call it the living room, probably. It's just a little single door, not the sliding glass door. And that single door is very difficult to open and close. So that probably just needs a little bit of attention. I could hardly get it open, and I was worried once I got it open if I was going to get it closed, but I did. So, but it was not. It was, you know, like okay.
Do you think telling me it's not the preferred method of egress?
Yeah.
Or I haven't been for a while.
Yes,
you think it's seasonal, or it's just needs to be adjusted?
You know, that sort of thing can certainly change with, you know, the temperature, the moisture content of the soil and so forth, and things like that. But if it's as difficult as it is right now, it probably needs a little bit of adjustment.
Sure.
But it wasn't so much that I'm not like highly concerned about it. I mean, that sort of thing's not that unusual.
Gotcha.
And then we have the exterior and things around outside, and again, it looks very good overall, but had a couple things. There's so many retaining walls, it's hard to, you know, describe which one, but there's one that I say it's at the northwest corner, and it's the railroad tie retaining wall, and it's just, particularly at the corner, it's just, basically it's failing right there at the corner. I don't know if you guys saw that. You had to like go down the hill and look at it. If you guys want me to show you, I can.
Yeah.
But, and other parts of that retaining wall are definitely showing age and deterioration that I was okay with, but that just right there at the corner is just gone beyond. It's literally starting to go.
Okay.
So,
yeah, we'll take a look at it at the.
Yeah, so there's that.
We're done
and
here.
Then, so it'd be at the north. That if you went out that door, you'd see it. It's right out there. There's some places where the dirt and mulch are up over the siding, and so you guys know that's an issue, but easy to correct. And I must say the retaining walls and the grading, and I did see some evidence of some drainage tubes, French drains, and things like that. It's obvious that a lot of effort has been put into making this site work because it's on a hill, you know, so I really didn't see anything that appeared to be a problem. But it is a difficult site, but it looks like, you know, that the effort that was put in looks like it was very good. And then we have the porch was fine, and then the garage is fine. And then the roof, it looks very good overall. And there's a small area that's a flat roof, and it has roll roofing on it. And so you have strips, you know, and they overlap, and the joints are sealed. And there was some places along one joint that looked like they just need to be resealed. It's kind of got some gapping and such there. And then, where the electrical service comes in, it goes through the roof of the patio cover, which that looks newer, by the way. It's
Yeah.
not the same shingles as the rest of the house.
Yeah, it was a recent addition.
Yeah, that looked newer. So, you know, with the rubber boot flashing for any kind of pipe or conduit, and you guys know that is the black thing that seals around the pipe. So on that, so it's on that patio cover roof for the conduit, and someone stuffed some additional wires down through that, and I just don't feel like that's gonna hold up and be watertight over the long term. You really shouldn't do that, and I can see why they did it, but I just don't think that's gonna work very well.
So what do we do instead?
Well, honestly, I'd look for a different way to route the wires, or maybe, I don't know. That's a difficult one, because the way the rubber boot works, it goes around pipe. When you stick other stuff down, and then it pulls it away
That's not
on
round
one
anymore.
side, and then there's a bunch of sealant, and you know, it'll probably be fine for a while, and then the sealant will wear out, and it might leak. You know, it's just one of those things that it's just gonna cause more maintenance, which you shouldn't have, you know, because it just shouldn't have been done that way. So, I'd have to kind of think about what I think would be maybe the best. There's different things you can do there. You might be able to put another rubber boot around over the wires and cut it on the bottom or something. You know, do something where you have like a double layer there or something.
Yeah, we have pictures of that.
Yeah, I took a picture of it.
Okay.
It's gonna be a fun conversation, because I will bet you money, marbles, or chalk that the owner did. He's a master electrician.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He's an electrician.
And he actually teaches down at Wolf Creek. And so, if there's an electrical issue that he didn't do, I'm sure he'll take care of it.
There we
If
go.
he did do it, he's gonna have an opinion, so I can't wait to have this conversation.
All right.
Yeah. So you
Sounds
know,
fun.
Again,
Yeah.
you know, it's not a huge thing, but you know, so nobody should get too wound up over that.
Sure,
You know, it's
right.
just that that's to me is one of those just like,
Yeah, I haven't heard anything here that has given me any heartburn.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, this, like I said,
Yeah.
the house checked out very well.
Yeah, I'm in good shape too.
And then the foundation and structure, I'm not completely done there, but so far I have not seen anything that's bothering me there. And then, I have not done the electrical panel, so, and I didn't have any random electrical items thus far. But again, I'm not completely done, so.
Sure.
But, so anyway,
So-
this is what I would call a good report.
Yeah.
Foundation wise in the back, like everything looked good in your
Like I
opinion?
said, I'm not completely done.
Okay.
I've certainly looked at some things there, but so I just want to say I just have, so I've looked at certain things, but I know there's some other things I need to finish up on. So.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
it's hard for me to explain all that, but we're certainly doing very well, and I've got most of it, so,
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
so,
That sounds good.
I'm gonna get out of your hair. You
okay.
don't need me to land this plane, do you?
We need you waiting for us there to load us in the back of the limo and drive us away.
Use everybody for their strengths, I like that.
Yeah, all right.
We'll see you all
All right, I'll see you later, Chris.
Goodbye. I know there was one thing we were talking about looking at.
Yeah.
Well, it was, I asked you about those attic spaces, but you said you think, you were already aware of that.
Yeah, it's like, well, actually, I don't recall it exactly, but yeah, if we can, let me see here. Let me see what I have, okay? I wanted to just go look at the northwest drain and just talk about it while we're pointing at it, okay? And then we had the leaks in the bathroom, so the one faucet that was leaking, and then also the drip, so it's basically just that faucet that's leaking in the basement bath that drips down to below the sink. And then you had the drain leak in the second floor hall bath,
Yeah.
and then the tub shower diverter. And then the hot water heater, I was just gonna point to the pipe that is a different kind of pipe than it should be. and then talk about the flue a little bit. The flue that is too close to the foam. I don't know if you can point us to the attic stuff. I don't think so. We're not gonna go in the attic, so.
Well, the attic hatch is still open.
Oh, okay.
And you might be able to see it from the floor looking up to there. It has a fairly large opening.
Okay. And then that retaining wall, definitely wanted to see that. And while we're out here, maybe we just go out there and look at that.
Yeah, we should do that first then.
Yeah, and then where the dirt's too high, if you could just point to that and we could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there'd be a picture of that flat roof part where it needs to be sealed.
Yeah.
And then the rubber boot on the roof, there'll be a picture of that too. And yeah, and then maybe if we could just step out back and just like have a conversation about the foundation stuff out there, you know?
Yeah.
I know you haven't done that yet, but just it'd be, I gave her some of my opinion about how things looked, and I know that's where it kind of weeped in that corner, you know, and
Oh, yeah.
anything you can tell me out here is good.
Watch out for the ladder.
Sure.
I just sort of, that's where it ends up.
Okay,
Probably have to go around this way.
no problem.
That's where the dirt and the mulch is
Oh,
touching
yeah.
the siding, and right here, and right here,
Okay,
and right around here. This right around here is probably the worst part right there.
okay.
So that's where that is.
Okay, just gotta kind of dig that out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, makes sense. Oh, I see. Yeah, we did not look at that at all.
Well, you kind of have to make a point to come down here.
Yes, definitely.
To see that, so,
Okay, well, that needs some work.
yeah.
Need to get somebody out here and take a look at that. It's definitely hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
Okay. They probably wouldn't just reinforce that, would they? They'd most likely replace.
Well, I mean, you know, if you were really on a really tight budget, someone might do that, but I don't think that anyone would really think that was
The right way to
the
go.
best way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I might put the door down because I'm
Yeah.
nervous about someone wandering in.
Maybe we can talk about this drain down here a little bit.
Yeah.
Northwest drain. This one?
Let's see if it's drained down any. It had that sitting on top of it, which is not great. So I poured some water into it to see what it would do.
Uh-huh.
And the side opening's where I'm shining the light, but it's under the water.
Oh, okay.
So basically that tells me that it hasn't drained down any.
Okay.
When I first looked at it, the water was just below the side drain opening.
Uh-huh.
And so now it's just a little bit above that, and it's not draining down. So that tells me that it's completely clogged.
Okay.
So I would definitely want to get this.
Augered or something. And this comes from...
That's the one that I think is coming from the cooling coil in the attic.
Okay.
So it comes over here, and it goes up. And see, there's a gas pipe. The gas pipe goes up there. I bet that goes up to the attic furnace as well.
I see. Okay.
So,
The water pipe or the water heater pipe with the TPR extension. This right here,
that's
it's just the wrong type of pipe.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of replacing that.
There's other types of plastic pipe that can go on there. It
Yes.
just happens to be the wrong type of plastic.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's very common, but, and then the flue clearance, I can show you that.
Yeah.
So there's this foam piping needs to come off.
Yeah.
This right here that's near, this is the flue, so, you know, this needs to come off.
Is that just to keep the water hotter as it comes out of the hot water heater? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's good to insulate hot water piping, but
Is there any other kind of insulation you can put on there other than?
yeah, the bare fiberglass.
Oh yeah, right. So that whole
Right
thing could be
there.
right.
And then, so it comes along here, and then here's the refrigerant pipe. See, that's foam pipe stuff. Pipe insulation is literally touching it. It's laying on top of it right here. See?
Oh yeah. So you could put bare fiberglass
Yeah,
in,
so
in
we-
between there.
Well, we cut this off. We
Uh-huh.
cut it like, this is a type B flue, so we need 1 inch of clearance, so we'd only have to come like to here. And we remove this, and then we would want to wrap it with bare fiberglass
Oh, okay.
because it's touching the flue.
Yeah.
And then that flue goes up. It was okay here, but then again, up in the attic,
Yeah.
we had the issue in the attic.
Can we just go talk about this drain a little bit more? Because we talked about it in the garage with our realtor understanding and engineer understanding of what this drain actually does. Can we just talk about what it is? Like it's a floor drain. It's supposed to drain directly into the sewer.
Yes,
Correct.
that's what we would expect.
And then under the foundation or around the edge of the foundation, there's probably a layer of gravel and pipe that is supposed to catch water that's getting close to the foundation. And then it would most likely drain into this small pit here and then go into the sewer drain.
Right, and we would call that the drain tile, and that's what we were talking about earlier.
Okay. And so we're thinking that since this is not draining out of the bottom, that maybe it's what it fills up with is the water from the air conditioner. And then it doesn't drain out of the bottom, but it actually kind of goes reverse and the water goes out the hole where it's actually supposed to come into this pit.
That's very possible.
And it just dissipates. I mean, it goes out there.
Yes.
But if the drain tile were to function, like if it were to rain a bunch and rain were to come into there, how would it get out? You know, if that drain is clogged in the bottom.
It would come into the basement.
That's right. It would not get out. It would not get out.
Right, exactly.
So if that drain is clogged, there's a good chance there's really not much water coming through that drain tile, or else there would have been water coming out into the basement.
Yes.
So, okay, but we need to make sure that drain is clear. I mean, if you have a drain, you should make sure it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, you know, unless a floor drain was in a place where you really, truly, for some reason, didn't expect there to ever be any water, and I have trouble thinking of a scenario that fits that. You know, typically a floor drain is there for a reason, and we always want it to be able to function in the event of, you know, sometimes it's in the event that something weird happens, like, you know, most people have experienced or heard of water heaters going out, and they often go out, they start leaking, and some of them go out very suddenly. Like, I've actually heard stories of, like, the bottom of the water heater, like, falls off, and the whole thing just starts flooding.
I've heard that too.
You know, I mean, that's an extreme case. It's not that common, but it does happen.
There's a hot and a cold water line here. Is this where the washer and dryer used to be, maybe?
Very possibly.
And then this was maybe the drain for the washer and dryer too?
Possibly.
Maybe. I mean, usually you don't have a hot and a cold set up like that.
Exactly, yeah. It does make you think that it was for laundry.
I don't see any other drain line either though. So, but again, you know, the water's not getting out.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah,
So what you do with that means you auger it.
Right.
You clean the line.
Right, you have a plumber come and see if they can, you know, get that cleared out to where it's draining fine.
Makes sense.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Appreciate the conversation with me there, even though we doubled up on it, I know. But,
So that's fine. Whatever you think would be helpful.
basement bath, and we talked about the TP pipe, we talked about the flue. So yeah, just I guess the little faucet drain in this basement bath. Be good to chat about.
So it was leaking right here and down into the sink. It was wet before I ever even turned it on.
Yeah.
And then when you turn it on, it kind of splashes and goes over there.
Okay.
And then it looks like the water's getting under the faucet, and so the floor was wet, and then see the staining
Yeah.
down here.
Gotcha.
So it looks like
Okay.
that's what's,
You need a new
so it's
faucet
all
there,
about
basically.
The faucet,
Yeah.
basically.
Once
Yeah.
you put a new faucet on there, you seal it on the bottom, then there's no more water down there, probably.
Yeah, and then I would say after that, obviously, is fixed, and we would just make sure that we didn't have any other leaking.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so I'd want to look at the leak upstairs in the bathroom.
okay.
And then maybe you could show me that door, and we could just talk about that a little bit, the door that to the exterior that
Okay.
sticks. And then when we get out there, I would kind of like to just talk about, she's concerned about drainage over here. And this is actually the part of the basement that weeps down there, right? Right below here. So she's gonna, I think they put a drain in there at some point. They said that, maybe not, maybe that's the drain from downstairs in the basement. We should talk about that. Thing.
The thing that Ben Schreiner did?
Yeah.
That's more that direction.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
over there.
Yes, but where it weeps in the basement is here. Okay, so it's just tight. And to adjust something like that, what do? Just shave the door or something, or?
Yeah, usually for this amount.
Okay. Can we go back down to the basement and look at that part that Ben Schreiner put in?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want to go upstairs first?
Maybe we just go right back down there and then. I forgot about the gym. Did you look at the gym very much?
Yeah, I listened.
Okay.
That was a surprise.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Ben Schreiner installed something. Schreiner Construction did there.
Yeah. What I'd call that is a slot drain, and the reason they would have done that is they must have been getting some water through this wall, which is also, we would assume, because they did epoxy in the corner, and that it looks like sealant, and it is sealant, it's just a certain kind.
Mm-hmm.
And so what this tells me is that they had water coming in through the wall, most likely through a crack, or one or more cracks. And so if you didn't have the slot drain, if you just had the floor like it used to be, the water would hit the floor and then run out onto the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So when they do that, that allows any water that might get in there to go down below the floor. And so
Probably drains into this tub drain or the shower drain or something.
No, actually, in this case, at this location, it wouldn't do that. That would be done to allow it to get to the drain tile.
Oh, okay. So they just. Oh, I see.
They're basically creating an opening for the water that came through the wall to go down and get into the drain tile. But on this house, we don't know if we have interior drain tile, and we don't know if we have exterior. It's much more likely we have exterior drain tile. So letting the water go down right there, it might not go exactly straight to exterior drain tile, because it's not really in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not very much water, that's still a reasonable solution.
So it doesn't come into the
right, and
the house and on the floor.
If it's a small amount, it doesn't happen very often. If you're just letting it go down below the basement floor, it's not gonna hurt anything.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's a lot of water that's happening frequently. So from everything we've been given as far as information, that would be a typical good solution.
And that's where they injected the crack, right? with
Yeah.
they put some epoxy in the
Yeah,
walls.
see how it looks all,
Uh-huh.
it looks like caulking, and it's similar to that, but,
Okay.
so yeah, that's what that all appears to be.
And then he told us about this other corner over here where he talked about where it weeps.
So, yeah.
If we could.
He showed us right here, and you can see that the paint has bubbled on the concrete block, and you know, so that is an indication that it gets wet sometimes. And
Do you think that's something that needs addressed in any way? I mean, how do you address something like that anyway?
you know, sometimes you do everything you can on the exterior, and you still will have some of that. And like we lived in a house that we did all this stuff on the outside, and there was still this one corner that would get seepage when it rained hard. And that, so sometimes there's things going on under the ground that can lead to that. You know, being that it's in the unfinished area, and given the age of the house, I don't actually find that unacceptable, since, you know, we have a lot of disclosure information that tells us that we don't have anything significant, that it's only when it rains, sounds like a fair amount.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we still don't want to try to fix it, of course, and I'm not suggesting that, but
Not necessarily a fix inside, but just making sure you control your water outside.
well, that's always the starting point. So honestly, what I would do if I was going to try to figure out why we get a little seepage right there is I would observe outside, well, the whole thing, but particularly right outside this area when it's raining real hard. And I would see if I see anything that appears to be a problem that maybe had gone unnoticed.
Like
Like
puddling
maybe a
or
gutter problem, or maybe, you know, you can have a clogged gutter or a clogged downspout, and you don't realize it unless you happen to go out there and look when it's raining.
when it's raining, yeah.
So sometimes there's things that people don't realize are happening unless they have really scrutinized it.
Sometimes
when
you
it's
clean
raining.
your gutter out of all the leaves, but then find out that actually your downspout is clogged with something in the middle that you
Yeah.
didn't even see, and then all the water's just dumping over the edge of the
Yeah.
gutters right there or
Yeah,
something.
so if I was trying to figure this out, I would start by observing during a pretty heavy rain and see what that tells us, and then you know, if I found something that way, then I would of course try to correct it and see if that took care of it, and then if we still were getting some seepage once we said it, just we're not seeing anything outside, then we could do the little thing that they did over there, put in the slot drain, you know.
What about structurally? I mean, is there any kind of issue structurally here?
No.
So this whole problem in the corner here, like if you were to rate it as a 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, like how big of a problem is this?
Well, it's really difficult for me to do.
It's
a
not a
rate.
5. Sounds like it's not a 5.
I don't find it to be a structural problem at all. It's a water intrusion issue, and
Okay.
like I said, for a house of this age, I don't hold it to the standard of a newer house. So in other words, I don't expect it to necessarily have a completely dry basement. So when I hear we have 2 spots that get a little seepage
Yeah.
during heavy rain, that for around here, that's quite normal, and
Okay.
and I would find that okay for a house of this age.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we don't want to try to solve it or fix it.
Of course.
But
But that's the explanation that I need for her so that
Yes.
she understands,
Yeah.
you know, how
Yes.
severe this is,
and
you know.
to me, I'm not concerned about it.
This was really the only concerning
Yeah.
part in the disclosure when we
Yeah.
read the seller's disclosure.
Yeah.
So this is
Some
about
water
it.
seepage, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, the one over there, they've given it a pass. This one, quite honestly, if you get some seepage over here, it's gonna run right over here to the floor drain, and the guy
Yeah.
said it never even made it that far.
Yeah. What do you think about this floor drain here? I mean, this is
This
just
one I tested, and it was fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, if you wanted to just, if this does seep, if it continues to do what they described, and you get some seepage there, there are ways to totally stop it from doing that. It gets a little bit more involved, and there's certainly some expense, but if you want, we can go outside and look and just,
Yeah. Yeah, like put a drain outside or something like
I
that.
didn't do that yet because I had to ask him about what the way he wrote that. He said it's near the floor drains, plural.
Yeah.
But we got a floor drain here, we got a floor drain over there. So
Right.
Like,
Which one? Yeah. Makes sense.
so then he just showed me where, and so then that was another thing. I did is go back outside and
Okay.
see what is right outside of this area.
Okay.
So, so do you want to go upstairs or do you want to go outside?
Let's go upstairs first, and then I think we'll just finish outside, and
Okay.
I'll just take off
Okay.
because I saw they were sitting outside on the back patio. So once we go out there, they'll probably come inside or something.
Well, to see that area, we need to go out the front.
Oh, sure. Okay,
Actually.
that's fine. Probably opens right there.
The part that goes all the way down, that meets up with that roof right there.
Okay.
But there is a gutter. But see, that corner is not going to be, it's not going to be even with the outer face of the chimney. It's the part that's up against the house.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, there could be a gutter issue. It could have something to do with the way that roof, and I'll look at that. I'll go out in the backyard
Sure.
and look at that. But I'm afraid to open this gate because the dogs are out.
Right, right.
So, it could have to do with how that little weird little roof area meets up with the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be that I will say that see that tree.
Mm-hmm.
The grading from the base of that tree to the retaining wall that's behind the patio,
Mm-hmm.
that does slope down some,
Yeah.
but they may have done that because if you change the grading around a tree very much, you can kill the tree.
Sure.
And so they might have been being really careful about changing that. And there was mention on one of the disclosures that they had extensive landscaping and redoing of the backyard. And so since it was just that one little area, you know, I wasn't.
They're probably
really
just
too
sort of leaving
concerned
it
about
alone.
that. Yeah.
With just weeping.
Yeah, because it was the base of the tree. So.
Okay.
But you know, it could be that the gutter right there had a problem. But I'll go out the back and look at it from out there too and see. If
Okay.
anything. But here's a, you call this a French drain right here. See,
Yeah.
see, it's like a drain tile and it goes up there. So there's some evidence of what they were talking about. That some drainage system was put in with the landscaping.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay, so maybe we just look at that leak up in the bathroom. What is that thing? What's that black thing? Right? Just the.
I don't know what the black thing is, but these two pipes
For the furnace?
It's the furnace flue and the furnace intake.
Gotcha.
That black thing, some sort of little accessory thing, I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Okay.
So it's below the sink. And this one didn't leak a whole lot, but you can see there's still a little puddle of water right there.
Right.
And it was from the drain piping,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
so.
Okay. Where are those attic storage doors that you talked
We're
about?
in the master bedroom.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, we did not see those.
Right here.
Yeah.
So you push on it rather hard and it pops open.
Oh, great. Okay.
See, there's,
Yeah.
it's a very good storage area.
One there,
And then there's one
one
there.
over here. Okay.
So you push on it and it pops open. But see, most people, if you've never seen one of those, it is not,
Yeah.
it's not intuitively obvious.
Can we look out one of these windows over here and see that electrical boot that you talked about on the roof? Thinking like,
Let me see if I think it'll show. I have to go farther down. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it. but we
that's
will.
okay. I'm sure you'll have a picture of it. So.
Yeah, I'll have a picture.
And then this is where the
There's the attic hatch.
yeah,
But,
probably tough to see too.
yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see the.
That's okay.
flue.
You'll have pictures of that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. I'm gonna go through. So I know you still have you're gonna look at the foundation back there a little bit more. So
Yeah, but I'll be surprised if I
yeah,
have a problem with it. But I just did need to just.
I'm gonna
you
finish.
know,
I'm gonna get
finish
out.
looking at that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's fine. And it's a big house, so totally
Yeah.
takes a little bit to
yes. Yeah.